Assalamu alaikum. My name is Faryal, and I was. Hold on. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Sister Faryal.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Faryal, and I was born and raised in New Jersey. I still live in New Jersey, and I attended public school my whole life, from kindergarten to high school. I attended Rutgers University, and I got a bachelor's in biology and psychology. And then I went on to do my master's in public health. I thought that I'm going to go in that field. After I had children, I realized that I wanted to have the same schedule as them, and I wanted to be on the same basically rhythm as them. And I realized that having a full-time job may be a little bit more demanding on me, so I went into education. I started teaching at the school where my children were attending, and it was a private school, it was an Islamic school. And at that time, I got my certification in teaching for New Jersey. So I am a certified teacher in New Jersey, but I think I'm the exception to the most. Most certified teachers usually do stay in a school setting, and they don't always decide to homeschool. And let's see. So that's my educational background. Now, why did we start homeschooling, especially since I'm a teacher? My kids I have 4 children, and right now they're 15, 14, 11, and 6. And we started homeschooling about 6-7 years ago. So at the time when my kids were in the school, I just had my 4th baby, and the daycare for the school was going to be a little bit hard to get to. It wasn't going to be easy on us, so I decided I'm going to stay home with the baby, and we decided at that time to homeschool and just try it out for a year until she was older. And my kids fell in love, I fell in love, and we just have stuck with it since then. I do think that, homeschooling, my disclaimer is that it's not for everybody. And definitely, you have to evaluate yourself. You have to look at what you want with your own life and, what you want with the kids before you decide to jump into it. It is going to be demanding, and it is going to take a lot out of you. So in the beginning, especially until you get into a routine, a rhythm, and you realize, what exactly homeschooling is. And just as Sister Khadija pointed out, there's a big difference between pandemic schooling and homeschooling. So pandemic schooling is what was happening since February, March up until now, and probably into the fall, it looks like, especially depending where you are in the country or the world. And that's everybody just kind of trying. Pandemic schooling is basically replicating the brick and mortar school at home. And that's basically kind of what I tried to do the first year we homeschooled. The first year I homeschooled, I had a 5th grader, 4th grader, and a 1st grader, and a newborn. And I bought 3 different curriculums for each of them. None of the literature they did was the same. Everything was different. And I was spreading myself way too thin to really finish everything we had planned, which, it's a novice mistake, and a lot of people make that mistake. But of course, if you go online and you read about other homeschoolers, you're going to read that basically you should try to align the topics that they're learning. So, back to home. So that's the difference between pandemic schooling and now what is homeschooling? Homeschooling is actually getting more in touch with your children, getting more in touch with what they want to do, what they want to learn, what kind of learners they are, what gifts do they have? Because all children have gifts, and you really want to find out, what are those gifts the kids have? Because you want to tap into those and, lift up the kids with whatever they're blessed with. So that was our journey. Now, we've been homeschooling, and actually I want to touch now into the evolution of a homeschooler, because most people, when they start off homeschooling, they do start off with a rigid schedule, a big stack of books, things that they want to do, and a lot of hopes. And that's good. It's not bad that you want to do all that. But being in a school is going to be really different than homeschooling. As most parents know, our children don't listen to us like they listen to a teacher outside of the house, right? And so it's going to be a little bit tricky to get your kids to do what you want them to do, or what you think that they need to do, whatever topics they need to cover. So give yourself some grace, give yourself some mercy, and you have to take it easy. New Jersey doesn't have a lot of laws, or we don't submit anything. If you're in New York, you know that you do have to submit your plans and your completed, checklist or whatever it is. So definitely give yourself a break. You make yourself a list, make yourself expectations, and then check them off as you go. But don't beat yourself about what you didn't get done, because I promise you're going to plan something and it's not going to get done, because you're going to plan this great unit on birds, and your kids are going to be like, well, we really don't care about birds, and we really don't care that you got bird books. And so you're not going to really want to force them to learn about birds if they don't want to, because there's a million other topics out there in science. So that's if you're a home educator. I would definitely say, and honestly, even a seasoned home educator often needs to hear that, just give yourself a break. It's okay. And that also goes with curriculum. You might buy a curriculum, and one of the famous homeschool authors, Julie Bravewriter, she just posted, I think, on social media today or yesterday about how, if you buy some curriculum, it's okay to not use it. Take it as R&D, research and development, that it didn't really work out for your kids, and move on to something that's going to work for them, because each child is unique, and each child is going to have a different learning style. And most likely, even if you have 4 or 5 kids and you think the genetic pool is the exact same, it's not the same. Kids are wired differently, their brains work differently. My 2 boys are 14 months apart, and they are night and day. And so what I used for the first one, I thought I have to use for the second one, because they were a year apart in school, and it doesn't really work out like that. Their needs are unique and their gifts are unique. So why did we keep homeschooling? We kept homeschooling because we really liked the relaxed curriculum. I mean, the relaxed lifestyle. I wouldn't say I really relaxed with the curriculum. The relaxed lifestyle. We were able to go visit family if we wanted to. We could take a vacation in off season, and we got the work done. So when I was teaching, before I became vice principal, I had taught high school science. I had taught kindergarten, 2nd grade, and 4th grade. And so I have basically taught most of the grades. And I had seen that, especially in the younger grades, a lot of the time is spent passing out worksheets and just managing the group. Because of course you have a classroom full of young kids. They need structure, they need discipline, and they need routine. And you need to work on establishing that before you can teach them anything. And so for the younger grades, your work, I mean, definitely from kinder, even younger than kinder, obviously, but kinder to 2nd or 3rd grade, your work is going to finish in 2 or 3 hours, and you're left with a lot of time. And just as Sister Khadija mentioned, you're going to have so many activities. You're going to have ice skating and visiting a farm where you have a weekly class, and your family might like skiing, so you're going to go skiing once a week in the winter. And there might be a class at the beach that's going on for 6 weeks. And so, there's going to be a lot of classes, too many classes for you to join. You're going to have to start saying no, so you can get the curriculum completed that you purchased, that you had thought you wanted to do. So that's definitely the pros for us, that, we weren't rushing out the door. There was no lunches being forgotten. And so the next thing was, when I first started homeschooling, I decided I'm going to do online research, as most people do. And I had a friend who homeschooled and had recommended a book to me, and it's called The Well-Trained Mind. And this is the book. I think this is an older edition. They came out with a new book too. And so this is just like a book from birth to high school. And this is really intense. So, you might not want to be able to do all this. You might not want to do this much curriculum. This is, a great structure, and then you can water it down for yourself, because it is a lot in there. And, they do teach a lot of basics. And if you read that, you're going to understand why a lot of homeschool curriculums are written the way they are. they want, copy work. Because I had never heard of copy work. In all my teacher training, I don't think I heard about copy work. So, yeah, it's an intense book and it has a lot of good stuff in it, but you don't want to just, decide that you're going to completely use that. You should keep researching. Now, the next book I've been reading, and we have a book club for this, is called The Brave Learner. So this book is kind of the opposite of The Well-Trained Mind. It's more about getting to know your children, setting up your home for success, and learning with your kids and making it really enjoyable, making learning spectacular. It's just, it's just something they're going to gravitate to. So that's another book. The third book I have is The Call of the Wild and Free, and I'm still reading this book, and this is a really beautiful book. And this is also for beginner homeschools, but I just really love the inside of it. It has really nice illustrations of just, being with the family, being with kids, and exploring the outside, being in nature. And there's two other books I have, but these are parenting books. So I have Boys Adrift, and I also have Girls on the Edge. So these books are by the same author, Leonard Sachs, who's an MD PhD. And I really feel like once I read these books, I felt like, I really would prefer my kids to be homeschooled. There's just, the kids these days, like sometimes you end up in school and, you're getting affected by your peers. I wanted to be the one that's going to cultivate who my kids are, not their peers, not kids the same age as them. So those two books were really impressionable. And I read those after I had started homeschooling, but, it kind of gives you the gasoline for the trip because homeschooling, it's a journey, right? So it's going to keep you going, and you're always going to be looking for new motivation, new inspiration, because like I said, homeschooling your own kids is not going to be easy. I mean, it's going to be very rewarding because you might be the person that teaches them to read. You might see the first time that algebraic equation clicks in, and you're going to feel really good about it. But, there's definitely going to be times that are not easy, and you're going to grow as a parent. Honestly, I really don't know too many parents that became parents with their homeschool energy, that they got it as soon as they became a parent.
Well, we have one more minute, otherwise we're going to run out of time.
Okay.
So, mashallah, I'm enjoying it, but just wanted to give you a heads up.
Sure. So the basically, your patience will develop as you homeschool your children. I have a whole list of other items I wanted to show you, but I guess we'll save it for another time. The other things I just wanted to touch upon was that for books, I use Rainbow Resource curriculum. For buying curriculum, I use Rainbow Resource. It's online. I always felt like that company is really good, and it's a family company. And I also wanted to suggest that if you're going to homeschool multiple children, try to use planners. I use a paper planner for myself and my children, but you could use an e-planner. And also, if you have maybe 2 to 3 kids, you might want to make a meal plan and a chore chart and try to figure out who's going to do what, because your house is going to get messier and everybody's going to eat all the time. Everybody's going to eat all the time. So you definitely want to have those structures in place before you start, so everybody's kind of on the same page, and the kids like to know what to expect. So I want to thank everybody for listening and coming out. If you have more questions, we are on Instagram at A Cup of Home, and we also have a blog, acupofhome.com, and I'll add those in the comments. And if you got the Zoom link through any WhatsApp groups, then we'll also add those there. Jazakallah khair, everybody.
I'm sure, so that will be a very good place for everyone to explore, inshallah.